Hey there, Brad from 4Player with my top 10 games of 2023. Let's get started. Number 10 on my list is Humanity, and yeah, it's a pretty great puzzle game that I didn't hear a lot of people talking about this past year, which is a shame because look at this game. It's fucking gorgeous. In fact, I think I gave this my award for my favorite looking game of the year, or maybe my runner-up, I don't know. It's just a beautiful puzzle game, such great vibes, great music, just great sound effects, and it just looks amazing seeing humanity fly, literal humanity flying through the air as you solve lemmings-like puzzles, 3D lemmings, if you will. But devilishly tricky, actually. I think one of the reasons this game impressed me so much is because of how tricky the actual puzzle design in this game is, and it's constantly mixing things up, constantly finding new ways to test you, to the point where by the end of the game it's basically an RTS. It's crazy. This game is surprising. There's like a ton of puzzles and just the vibes. Just a beautiful looking game. Love to look at dudes and dudettes flying through the air. Just really, really cool. I hope more people try it. I think this was on like PlayStation Plus or something extra. I don't know. They screwed all that up. I don't know what the fuck Sony was doing, but it's on there. Subscribe, play some Humanity. It's a really cool, challenging, beautiful puzzle game. It's rad. Next up, our first P game, but with a twist. It's actually Pseudo Regalia with a P, and it's pretty crazy. This is it kind of looks like an N64 game, and it's definitely got the platforming mechanics of something like a Mario 64, meaning you can, turn around, jump, high jump and crouch jump and triangle jump off of walls. You got all kinds of crazy mechanics, and then that ultimately I think what makes Pseudo Regalia so special is that it feels so good to play, and it goes deep. It's surprisingly deep. There's all kinds of cool cancels, and you're canceling out of a butt stomp, well, not a butt stomp, into like a dive. It's actually closer to something like a Mario Odyssey, where it just feels really technical, really high skill ceiling type of game. It's probably going to be like a speedrunner's game, but so it feels great to play, but it's actually not strictly a platformer. It's more of like a N64 era adventure game, kind of like a Castlevania 64, if you will. And sure enough, I mean, it is a Metroidvania. You're unlocking abilities that are, give you access to certain areas or, parts of this big open-ended castle and castle surrounding type setting. But you constantly feel like you're breaking the game or cheating or sequence breaking by stringing all these abilities together. But I really do think that's kind of what the idea was. But it's just, I just like how we're getting, 3D throwback games and not just, 2D side-scrolling Metroidvanias, but stuff that reminds me of, Castlevania 64. And like that game, I feel like I was kind of lost a lot in this game, but I was patient with it, and I had a really good time just kind of figuring things out, figuring out where to go, and just a joy to move around, to find secrets, and just, feel like you're just getting really good at the game and moving really fast, and just a cool game with a cool look. I want more games to look and play like this. Just absolutely cool. More people need to try it. Pseudo Regalia. Pseudo Regalia? Regalia. I don't know how to say it. At number 8, I have, the surprise of 2023, the Shadow Drop Hi-Fi Rush. The surprise, not just the surprise because it was Shadow Drop, but, from the creators of The Evil Within and Ghostwire Tokyo comes a very colorful Saturday morning cartoon looking game. Honestly, when I first saw this trailer, I was like, I wanted more Evil Within, cool horror stuff, Shinji Mikami. But as soon as I turned this game on, man, just good vibes all around. It's funny, it's good-hearted, it's beautiful to look at. It's got cool, memorable characters, and it's got a really deep combat system to back it all up. It's got that rhythm combat action, and when I heard it was going to be that kind of game, I was a little worried that it'd probably end up being shallow, cool music, cool rhythm mechanics, but ultimately kind of shallow, like I think a lot of these sort of hybrids are. But no, like as you play this game, it gets, they introduce more and more mechanics, and it's surprisingly deep and surprisingly challenging. And towards the end of this game, you're doing crazy parries and combos, and there's all these, you have characters that you're jumping in and comboing with. It's nuts. And it really, really was surprising just kind of how far they go with mechanics in this game, because I thought this was going to be all style, and it wasn't. This is a really cool character action game with the style and the visuals to back it up. Just awesome game all around. And now I'm in a world where I kind of want more Hi-Fi Rush and not just Evil Within. So I don't know. I mean, Tango Gameworks, they're one to watch for sure. Next up on my list at number 7, 6, 7, I don't know. Fire Emblem Engage, which is probably one of the more underrated games of this year. I heard a lot of people talking shit about it, mostly because, I don't know, the story and the characters are not as good as Three Houses. And hell, I love Three Houses. I put that pretty high up on my top 10 list that year. But I mean, truth be told, I found the combat in that game really boring, actually. And I had been pretty bored with the combat in the series for a while now. So I was surprised and delighted when Fire Emblem Engage had, and probably has, maybe the best combat system in the entire series. It's tactical, it's challenging. I was surprised by how much this game had challenged me. I mean, granted, I played on classic and hard or whatever, but I kind of always do my Fire Emblem games on that. And the last few games I've been kind of like, I feel like I've been sleeping through, and this one really, really pushed me. And I feel like I always had a ton of options in battle, which is, the strength of the game, right? You have all these, characters that you combo with like various emblems, and like kind of just making those choices of who to pair up with who, but then spending a ton of time between battles. Like the progression system in this game is really good, where I feel like it's finally coming together. They've been dabbling in this stuff, and they went pretty hard in Three Houses, but it almost seemed like a lot of like busy work. But here I'm constantly scratching my head, trying to come up with good combinations, like what do I upgrade here? I only have so much money. Do I buy another staff, a free staff or whatever? Like the economy in this game is really tight, and it forces you to make really tough decisions. And at first I was like, the stuff between battle, it doesn't seem as like narratively interesting as the stuff between battles in Three Houses, but the systems that are there are actually like pretty smart and pretty good, and you're inheriting skills from your emblems. And I was just fucking around with my army so damn much in this game, and I'm a little weird about that stuff. I get really into it, but there are times where I spent more time between battles than I did in battles. So it's just really good progression, good combat, good tactics, good economy. Just, they kind of nailed it. I mean, the story is kind of dumb, right? But I mean, honestly, really, I feel like the story is kind of overrated in all of these Fire Emblem games. At least this one was colorful, and it ran really well, and they're going hard with like, the zoomed in 3D camera stuff. You can, you just zoom right in. You're just in that battlefield. It's cool. I don't know. They're making cool steps in the series, and maybe narratively it was a step back. But in terms of all the other mechanics and systems, I feel like it was a pretty big step forward. So I'm a big fan, kind of a champion of Fire Emblem Engage when other people are kind of down on it. I thought it was really cool. Yeah.
The flavor is invigorating. I approve.
Next up on my list, I have another P game with a hard P, Pikmin 4, which was a kind of a delight, honestly. Pikmin, I've always played the Pikmin games, but I've never loved them as much as I guess some people love Pikmin, or maybe no one really truly loved Pikmin, who knows. But I feel like I finally fell for the series with Pikmin 4, and I think it's because it sort of morphed into into something different. You know, I feel like Pikmin was always like vaguely RTS-y, you know, genre wise. And I've never really liked RTSs. They stress me out. And I guess Pikmin is supposed to stress you out, right? You know, it was a game on a timer, and you know, you got so many days to get all your ship parts and so many things you can do in a given day, and then there's a little pressure and stressful. But Pikmin 4 is chill. They finally introduced so many quality of life systems and mechanics, and Ochi is there making things easier for you. You know, you just hop on his back and all your Pikmin hop on his back, and he can just jump up things, and it's cool and breezy, and just collecting all the things in the world. You know, I'm 100% at all these damn levels just because it felt so good to collect everything. Just something about the way this game and the sound effects scratch my brain as I just chip away at each of these levels. It's addictive. It's chill. It's wonderful. They make smart decisions with, like, you know, all the different kinds of whistles and, hey, go back to the base. Hey, come over here. And, you know, you're doing stuff with Ochi and splitting up and like doing stuff together. And because it's a chill game, they find other ways to push you with like the combat battles and these Dandori battles where it's all about efficiency and you do this and you do this and I'll run over here and do this. And it's very stressful and you're running around. And by the way, I captured this footage like months after I played this game, and I'm really bad, and don't judge me. But you know, then you get out of the fucking battles and you just go back out into the world and it's just chill. Just pick up some cherries or some shit. It's a vibey game and beautiful to look at. You know, a lot of Nintendo games I feel like look really nice, but maybe they're struggling performance wise. But I feel like Pikmin's just there, relying on the art style and the good vibes and just a nice looking game, nice to play. More people need to play Pikmin. There's a lot of game here. They hid an entire Pikmin 1 in Pikmin 4, if you'd believe it or not. It's just a cool game. Nintendo kind of killing it this year, and I think Pikmin 4 was a big part of it. It's crazy. It's crazy because I was just complimenting Nintendo, and now I'm going to talk a little shit because my next game on the list is not Mario Wonder, a game that almost made my list, a game I played all of, but you know, when I dove back into Pizza Tower to finish that up, I realized that like that Mario Wonder, it was nice and all, but I think it. People were talking about this game like, oh, 2D Mario's back. The dark days of New Super Mario Bros. Are gone. But this game, Pizza Tower, kind of made me start thinking that Mario Wonder really was just another New Super Mario Bros. Game of a different, you know, flavor, really. I mean, shit, I'm going to start calling it New Super Mario Bros. Wonder because now I'm just talking shit about Mario Wonder. Mario Wonder's fine. Maybe my number 11. I don't know. But here at number 5, 4, whatever the fuck, is Pizza Tower. Which, look at this shit. Look at this shit. It's crazy. And I know, I guess it doesn't really owe much to Mario, but it is kind of a Wario Land spiritual successor of sorts, specifically Wario Land 4. You know, because, you know, like those games, you know, you get all these crazy power-ups. And when you get to the end of stage, just like Wario Land 4, you have to run back through the stage as fast as you can, and it's fucking crazy, breakneck speeds, and look at this shit. It's just such a crazy, beautiful game. Insane animations, insane characters, insane power-ups in this game. I am always surprised by new power-ups and new level gimmicks that are just crazy and funny and insane, and they're constantly changing things up. And you know, you would think that a run back through a level might be like kind of lame, but like they're always like opening up new shortcuts, and you're just and finding new like routes through the level and new twists on the level design as you're running back through them. And shit's funny and it's hype and it's exciting, and you're running in a hurry, and the music when you're running back through a stage, it fucking slaps so hard, and you see the dudes and he's waving you on, and he's like, go this way, this way, this way. This shit is so hype. Pizza Tower is like, more people need to play this. This is the most underappreciated game of the year. This shit came out in January and didn't get a score on OpenCritic until December because it didn't have enough reviews. That is insane to me. I'm talking about this game. I'm thinking about this game, and I wish I put it higher on this list because that's how cool Pizza Tower is. Fuck you, Mario. Fucking pizza's here to stay or something. But really, this game, it just rips so hard. It's so cool. Pizza Tower. Play Pizza Tower. I'm going to keep saying Pizza Tower till you go to Steam and you buy Pizza Tower or whatever this is on. Can you get it on a Switch? I don't know. Anyways, play Pizza Tower. It's rad. Number 4 on my list is Darkest Dungeon 2. You know, another underplayed, underappreciated game, I think. I think people went hard for Darkest Dungeon 1. It was a big game, popular game. People loved it. Didn't see a lot of people talking about Darkest Dungeon 2. And I think the reason is because it was so... Hold on, let me turn my... I wrote some things down here. What am I going to say? Oh, yeah, look at this game. It's beautiful. And I mean, look at it. I think this was my favorite looking game of the year. I think this series has always looked really amazing. And the way they turned the 2D into 3D, just shockingly gorgeous. Look at these fucking animations. It's so cool. Speaking of vibes, this game has like the best atmosphere. Let me tell you, absolutely love Darkest Dungeon. What was I talking about before? Anyways, the reason I think people bounced off this game at first is because they completely changed the genre, really. You know, it looks, especially when you're in a battle, it looks like Darkest Dungeon 1, but that was sort of like a town management game, and you had all these different parties of dungeoneers, and the dungeon part was like shorter, and it was all about getting back to town and managing your resources and managing your town and managing their sanity and stuff. This is a completely different type of game. This is a roguelike. You know, you have a team of 4 characters. You throw your team together at the beginning of a run, and you're just trying to survive and make it to the end and beat the final boss. And you know, you're picking different routes like a roguelike. It's just a very different type of game. And if you approach it the way you approach Darkest Dungeon 1, you're probably not going to have a great time. But you know, it's still good in a lot of the same ways that Darkest Dungeon 1 is. The combat is still amazing. It's, you know, obviously it's gorgeous to look at. The atmosphere is great. But, you know, it's the way that, like, the game is so hard and punishing and mean sometimes. In the way it wears down on you as the player. And I think that's what they're going for. This is a very difficult game. And I finally got through it by the end of the year. But it beats you up, man. It beats you up, but I feel like that plays into the atmosphere really well. And you know, I had a tough time with this game at first, but as I started to unlock all the different classes and all the different hero paths, which is something they added in, I think later on, just, you know, you can really change up the way a certain type of certain class plays by picking a different path. And it always made, you know, kind of made it exciting to, at the end of a run, or let's say I died and started over again, just kind of putting a different composition of party members together, of classes together, and hero paths together to kind of come up with some cool, crazy idea for another run. I ended up getting really addicted to this one until I finally finished it, and God, the music is really good in this too. Oh, there's that one song in that game. It's so hype. It's so hype. Yeah, and the shrines, the way they turned all the different classes into actual characters with backstories, and as you unlocked those backstories, and they come up with cool new like twists on little story battles. It's a cool game. More y'all need to play it. I feel like this whole list is a list of cool games y'all need to play. My top 10 list, I feel like, is pretty different than other people's this year, which is, I don't know. I guess that's a sign of a good year. Anyways, Darkest Dungeon 2, play it. It's fucking cool. I don't know what to tell you. Number 3 is El Paso Elsewhere. Yet another game that, motherfucker, none of y'all played. What the hell? That's fine. This is a game that on the surface looks a lot like, you know, classic Max Payne 1, Max Payne 2. You're a dude who's, you know, monologuing to himself, and he's got kind of a low, raspy voice, and you know, you're slow-mo diving and shooting things. But, you know, look, I think this project started as like an homage to classic Max Payne, but it really surprised me by the ways that it's different. This is a game where, you know, they're not really like Max Payne levels. There's like a lot of like bite-sized levels in this game. You know, the best comparison I heard once is that someone said it's more like Hotline Miami levels, where you just kind of get in and get out, and you know, I like that because really it's the story in this game. It's the stuff, the cutscenes between levels that is in the narrative, which is I find so fucking compelling in this game. This is a surprisingly well told story, well written characters, well acted characters. You know, you're James Savage and you're on a fucking one-way trip to hell to fucking kill your ex-girlfriend because she just happens to be the Lord of Vampires and she's trying to end the world. And, you know, you're just, you know, just shooting fucking werewolves and witches and fucking monsters and shit. And, you know, the music in this game rips and slow-mo is always good. Just the headshots in this game for some reason feels so good, so crunchy. I don't know. At first I was like, I don't know about the gameplay. It's not all that deep and it's just level after level. But after a while, you just start feeling the painkillers like James Savage. I don't know. I just had to pop heads. It just felt so good. And the music's crazy. You know, sometimes the dude, he just starts singing or you know, he just starts rapping. It's crazy. And the story, it's actually surprisingly like powerful and emotional and relatable and you know, it's really just kind of about a toxic relationship and coming to grips with that. And damn, more people need to play El Paso Elsewhere. I really like this game. I mean, and it's really close to, you know, my next two games, which are literally two of my favorite games of all time now. So, you know, I really wanted to put it high up on this list, and I did, because I think more people need to try El Paso Elsewhere. It's cool. It's really, really good. I don't know what to tell you. Vibes. That's like the theme of my list. Vibes, underrated, underappreciated games, and me just being mad at y'all. Damn it.
Love you too.
I'm recording this, and I don't know what my game of the year is. These last two games, I haven't ordered them yet. I didn't take notes. I'm going to talk through them with you. You are going to help me figure out what my favorite game of the year is. Or I guess I have to listen back and choose the order because this is a fucking video we uploaded to YouTube. But I don't know. I'm starting with this one. Doesn't mean it's my number 2 or my number 1. It could be my number 1. We'll see. The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, as you've already seen, spoiled by the video. Could be my favorite game of the year. I don't know. Let me talk through this. Breath of the Wild, one of my favorite games of that year that it came out. Absolutely adored that game. I think it was beat out by Hollow Knight ultimately. Where the fuck is Silksong? Just Breath of the Wild. Extraordinary. Saved the series for me. Maybe what became my favorite Zelda game. Till now, Tears of the Kingdom, I think is my favorite Zelda game. Which says a lot because I think A Link to the Past was literally in my top 5 games of all time. Yeah. Wow, I'm really thinking about this now. Anyways, just immaculate, incredible world design. Back when it was just Breath of the Wild, it was one of my favorite world maps, world designs of all time. Just absolutely extraordinary. And they added 2 more layers. The sky world, which absolutely wonderful. Puzzles, and the flying, and the just extraordinary stuff. The real magic, the real secret, the thing that no one knew about was underground. And just my God, it was crazy. I spent so much time down there exploring every inch. I was fascinated by it. I was dumbfounded that they made a whole world under the ground and they made it interesting and surprising and cool. And I mean, I'm sitting here and I'm just thinking about the game. I don't even know what to say. I'm still in shock by how awesome this game was. How they, if I had any complaint about Breath of the Wild, the first game, like real complaint, not like the bullshit of like, yeah, the dungeons aren't as good, whatever. They're making different games here. That's why the dungeons are different. Also, they were amazing. You're dumb. And they're pretty good in this one too. I mean, they're pretty amazing. I mean, I think what's awesome about the dungeons in this one is how kind of open-ended they are. You just kind of go in and you just start to pick it apart, figure it out. You're using your crazy abilities just to like move around the dungeons, figure out the pieces. And that sort of approach to dungeon design is very fresh, very new for Zelda. And I think that really made them stand out here. But anyways, what the fuck was I saying? Breath of the Wild. The thing that was kind of like in that game were the actual abilities. You get them all on the Great fucking Plateau, and they're like 2 of them are bombs, and you're like, okay, this is kind of cool, but you know, it's really how all this stuff interacts in the world and the elements and the reactivity and everything. Anyways, they threw all that shit out, and they actually gave you cool and interesting and exciting and fun abilities that were crazy and goofy and weird, and you know, you could just fucking go through the ceiling everywhere, and that's still fucking mind-blowing. And they built the whole world around that ability, which is crazy. And just you can stick everything together and you could just make shit. It's just Banjo-Kazooie nuts and bolts in like the greatest game, the best video game. Is this the best video game? If I call this the best video game, I think it has to be the best video game of 2023. I don't know. We gotta talk about that other one. But Tears of the Kingdom, guys. Fucking love this game so much. I love this game so much. There are so many times in this year where I am a busy guy. I don't get to like play everything, or I start games and I don't finish them. And there's probably a couple games on this list that I haven't finished. But like in my darkest moments this year, I'd turn this shit on and I would just lose time. It's crazy how good this game was, how hooked on it I was. Just extraordinary. Everything I love about exploration and world design and physics and shit. So good. So good. So good. I still think Twilight Princess had the better final boss fight, though. I think this one's a little overrated. It's cool. But I mean, you know, that Twilight Princess final boss was pretty sick. Anyways, what are we talking about here? I want to talk about this other game. I'm literally trying to figure this out in my head. Yeah. Anyways, this is my game of the year / number 2. I don't know yet. I'm going to stop recording. Next up on my list is, game of the year. Maybe game of the year. Maybe my number 2. Let me talk through this just like my last game. It's really close this year. I don't think it's ever been this close. Literally 2 games that are going to go in my top 10 games of all time. Pretty high, maybe, on those lists. Baldur's Gate 3. Fucking told you guys. I told all of you. I told you when a Divinity Original Sin came out. That first one, my game of the year. Divinity Original Sin 2 came out. I told you guys, this is the real shit. Larian is the real deal. Then Baldur's Gate 3 came out and everybody bought it. Everybody bought the fucking game. Everybody played it. People are still playing it. Now everybody knows. Everyone knows that Larian's the real deal. I was right. And I'm glad. I'm glad that the whole world is enjoying the brilliance that is a Larian RPG. Holy shit. Where do we start? I mean, it's got everything. It's literally got everything I look for in video games. It's got the world design, the level design, it's got the exploration, it's got the secrets. The way these worlds, these maps are put together is crazy. Who takes a CRPG and adds like more verticality than fucking most video games, period? It's crazy. Most games in this genre are just super fucking flat. You know, when you get to Baldur's Gate in this game and the way they like so intricately make like fucking 3-story, you know, buildings that are connected to different levels, and it's absolutely insane. This is the CRPG, an isometric RPG, but not really. You know, you can really zoom in. It's crazy. The level design, the exploration, the secrets, the side quests are so good in this game. You know, remember when Witcher 3 came out and we were like, oh, BioWare sucks. literally, we, you know, fucking Dragon Age Inquisition had come out. It won Game of the Year awards that year. That year, literally, it was like Dragon Age Inquisition, and I love Dragon Age. It came out that year, and then like the like 3 months later or some shit, The Witcher 3 came out, and everyone just looked at each other and they were like, dude, BioWare sucks. And I feel like we still believe that now. That's pretty sad, actually. Damn. But anyways, one of the reasons we were saying that is because the side quests in Witcher 3 are so fucking good. Every side quest you found had like a cool story and cool characters, and it's like, man, what was BioWare doing? That shit was trash. Well, like the side quests in this game are like even better than that. They're all have like interesting fucking stories and characters that are like tied to like, like you don't just meet a cool character in a side quest. You meet a cool character in a side quest, and then depending on how that turns out, that character or that parts of that storyline show up in another quest later, in another quest later, in another quest later, and you're like, how are they doing this? How did they put together a game that has the confidence to just let you just fucking kill anyone, to do anything you want, just make any fucking decision, roll the dice, and I'm just gonna let fucking Lae'zel kill Shadowheart. Who gives a shit? Who has the balls to like do that anymore in video games? For a long time it was, you couldn't even like kill characters. They would just fall on the ground and just come back up. Here, you can just let major story people on the fucking box art just fucking die because of a bad dice roll. That's absolute insane. That's confidence in game design. Jesus, what were we talking about? I think we were making fun of BioWare. I take it back, right? BioWare made some great games. And you know why those games were great? Because they had amazing cast, amazing characters, amazing personal quests, and those characters would evolve, and you fucking love them and fall in love with them and make love with them, damn it. And like this Baldur's Gate 3 has like the side quest design, the story like quest design of like a Witcher 3, but has all like the amazing like team party member, personal quest shit of like a BioWare game. This is literally the best of all RPGs out there, damn it. It's just so good. It's so good. And it has like the world design that just shits all over those. It's like fun to explore this world. Every inch of it you're finding something interesting and secrets, and it's like an immersive sim. Everything is reactive and interactive and it's like Breath of the Wild in RPG form, because you're approaching a quest like it's an immersive sim, right? And it's like, well, I can't pick locks, but I'm a barbarian. I can just take my hammer and bash this door down, or I'll just set it on fire, or I'll just go in through this way, or I'll just talk my way in over here, and whatever, this quest doesn't exist for me because in the previous act I killed fucking everybody. It's crazy. It's crazy. And it doesn't stop there. It's not just amazing side quests and amazing world design and amazing exploration and amazing characters. Shout out to Karlach, my everything. Jesus. I didn't even talk about how good, one thing I'd say is I think I do prefer the combat in the Divinity Original Sin games. And that's only because I think Baldur's Gate 3 is held back a little bit by some Dungeons and Dragons rules, like, like spell slots, and you gotta rest. And what happens is, I end up, leaning, it leads to less experimentation, right? Because I'm saving spells for like later encounters, or I'm trying to do my weak spells. I don't want to waste my best spell slots. And, I kind of like the jazzy nature of just let everything rip, like from Divinity Original Sin. But at least that's how I felt about the combat early on. Towards the end of it was all about fucking min-maxing best team compositions. I was respecking shit up until the last fucking quest of the goddamn game, because I had new ideas for new builds and new characters, and it was so fun to get to put together, like fucking turning Shadowheart from a cleric into like a sorceress that zaps everything with lightning, and it's just... This shit was so good. And, one of the reasons that shit is so good is because the itemization, shout out to the itemization in Baldur's Gate 3. There is so much good equipment in this game. I'd just like fucking I'd find like a new fucking ring or a new pair of boots or a new pair of gloves, and I look at it and I read the description, and I'm like, that is not like a 2% boost to damage. That is literally build defining. I can go create a new character because those boots are fucking crazy. So look at all this shit that I've listed here. It's got the best of everything, and at the end of the day, it also has like the nerdy, like fucking gross ass degenerate Brad shit that I look for. The reason I clocked over 250 hours in this game in a single playthrough is because my brain is bad. I have a bad brain, and Larian makes a game for my bad brain. And if it can have the best of, that's it. I've decided this is my game of the year. This is literally, I think the next thing I record is whether I think this takes down Final Fantasy Tactics, my literal favorite game of all time. I don't know. I don't think it does. But it's in conversation. It's up there. Symphony of the Night. I don't know. Is Baldur's Gate 3? Can Baldur's Gate 3 take down Symphony of the Night? I don't know. We'll see. It's up there. I love this game. I love every aspect of this game. It's like really, truly the only thing that makes me sad about Baldur's Gate 3 is I did it all. I fucking did everything in this game. Everything based on the decisions that I made. Shout out to my bard singing her way through storytelling through every situation. I want to live in this world. I hate how almost every encounter in the game is handcrafted. Not because that isn't fucking brilliant, but because I want to build new parties and new characters, but I don't want to start new runs. I would just want to live in this world like you kind of can in like an Elder Scrolls game, I want a castle where I can, like Suikoden style, all my friends, instead of just hanging out in camp, will have their own little rooms and all, because you find cool shit like paintings and stuff, like fucking 10-foot paintings and shit. I just want to decorate a castle, and I want to go into dungeons, like roguelike dungeons, and just fight in dungeons forever because the combat's so good and the equipment is so good. And they were making like a combat only like a Divinity Original Sin game that they canceled probably when they were working on this. I want them to bring that back, but give me content in Baldur's Gate 3 that feels endless, so I can just live in Baldur's Gate or well, actually, me and Karlak are living somewhere else. Shout out to my girl. Anyways, this game is crazy. I spent like days just looking up different endings, and I could not believe how crazy things could get in this game. It's my game of the year. It's my game of the year. Oh my God, I've been talking for 10 minutes about this game. Holy shit, that's probably going to be longer than all of Ed's video. Wow. Anyways, I could do an hour. I could keep going, but I actually have to work in the morning, so I'm going to shut this off. Shout out to Baldur's Gate 3 and my crew. It's the best. It's just the best one. This is just the best RPG. They made the best one, and good luck to everyone else who was trying to do that, because shit wasn't Starfield. I don't know. Anyways, that's it. That's a wrap. Anyways, that's it. Unscripted, unedited. The pops are gonna stay in. Got to buy a new pop screen. That's a wrap. 2023. Some of the best games I've ever played came from this year, but really, was it one of the best years of video games of all time? I don't know. I don't think so. I didn't like Final Fantasy 16. That's it. See y'all on the flip side.